Why is the submarine force called the Silent Service? You know, I get asked this question all the time. So I thought I'd put together this quick video just to share with you the origin behind the name. Now, the origin of the name Silent Service, it comes out of World War II, and it stems from what's called the May Incident. And let me unpack for you what that is. So in 1943, Congressman Andrew May, he's the head of the House Military Affairs Committee. He's completing a visit to U.S. forces that are operating in the Western Pacific Fleet. Now, during his visit, he attends a top secret security briefing, and in that briefing, the head of submarine forces in the Pacific Fleet shares that the submarine force is having tremendous success against the Japanese because they're able to escape their depth charges. The reason we're able to escape their depth charges is because U.S. submarines are operating at a much deeper depth than the Japanese think we're operating at. And so the Japanese have set their depth charges to explode at too shallow of a depth. Now, when Congressman May gets back to the United States, he decides to hold a public hearing and share all of his findings and his experiences with the American public. One of the things he decides to share is that the survivability rate of the U.S. submarine force is much higher now because the Japanese depth charges are going off way too shallow. Yes, he shared this in a public briefing. This information ultimately gets back to the Japanese. They adjust their depth charges to go off deeper, and it's estimated that the submarine force lost 10 submarines and over 800 lives because of this breach of top secret, really confidential information. Now, Vice Admiral Charles Lockwood, he's the head of all submarine forces in the Pacific Fleet. He's known to have said, I understand Congressman May said that the depth charges of the Japanese aren't set deep enough. He should know now that they set them much deeper. Now, with this breach of information and this tremendous loss of life, the submarine force just decided to go dark. There would be no more information that would be shared. Even in top secret security briefings, it would only be on a need-to-know basis. Now, one of the reporters who had relationships with people in the submarine force, when all of the information dried up, basically he was getting no information anymore, he became extremely frustrated, and he put out an article that said, the submarine force is now the Silent Service, which the submarine force we adopted with pride. So that's the genesis of where the name came from. Now, the name has been fortified over the past 80 years because the number one strength of a U.S. submarine is its stealth, its ability to operate in silence, not be noticed, not be detected. And so when an adversary looks out over their ocean and wonders if there's a submarine off the coast and they can't see whether there's one or not, they just have to assume there's one there. Now, over the past 80 years, 35 to about 50 U.S. submarines are operating every single day of the year on missions critical to national security. It's said that U.S. submarines have traveled some 51 million miles under the surface of the ocean. Now, the final contribution to the name the Silent Service is just when you talk to any submariner. You know, I get asked a lot of questions, and these are questions I would ask too. How deep do you go? How long have you been underwater? How many missiles do you carry? How many torpedoes do you carry? How close have you ever gotten to someone's coast? All of those questions, I have to say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Now, the reason for that is each and every single one of us has signed a piece of paper saying that we're going to take all of our experiences, all of our knowledge of the submarine force, we have to take that to our grave. All right, so that's the backstory behind the term the Silent Service, and it's something that we in the submarine force were really proud of.